Hello and welcome to the What the Fork Monarchs preview show. Myself, Graham Munsey, joined by Dave Harley. And Dave, we've got cup fever. We look ahead to a big cup match. It's the Glasgow Tigers coming to Armadale on Friday. And the first leg off, I'm guessing, is the last 8, so the quarterfinals of the KO Cup. Well, as usual, we'll get a preview from both camps. We'll hear from Paco, Castagna and Tom Brennan. And we'll delve not too far, I think, into the archives this time, but for a night that I certainly enjoyed this time last year, or towards the end of last season, and we'll see a heat from that later on. So, Dave, it's cup time, it's derby time, the Tigers are back in town, and I guess if we take the Monarchs' point of view first, a chance for revenge after that pretty humbling defeat at Armadale. What would it be, 4 weeks ago now?
Yeah, I think that's probably is the main target for Saturday, is to show that that result really was a one-off, and it's not something now that's going to be repeated now the boys are embedded. Obviously, we now lost Lassie as well as James, so that's another challenge we're going to have to overcome. But we are seeing progress. The switch of Paco and Kai got us another 5-1 in Heat 3 last week. Jacobs picked up a couple of wins last weekend. I know, obviously, last Friday may not be the best judge of form, but there's nothing better than picking up wins, picking up a lot of points, a decent pay packet for the Raiders, and so as you said, great chance to go and show that 39-51 loss was just a early season teething problems, and we're now starting to build into be a proper potential playoff team.
Yep, and I think you maybe said Saturday night at the start of that there, Dave. Of course, Friday night is Speedway night. We all know that weekend in Prague's obviously knocked you for a loop there. Will be our usual Friday at 7:30. But you mentioned there a couple of changes in the Monarchs lineup. Lassie, unfortunately, diagnosed with a broken shoulder after that crash in his second race last Friday, and he's heading back to Norway to get laser surgery and see how quickly he can get back. I think the doctors had advised 4 weeks, but we all know what 4 weeks to a normal human is to a speedway rider, so keep an eye out for when we hear about him. Of course, James Sargent still missing, and nothing concrete, but again, maybe some slightly more positive news coming out of James that he is actually a little unsure if his initial diagnosis wasn't over the top, and seemingly he's reporting better movement in his shoulder than he would have expected if it was broken. So I think he might have been either going this week or at some point looking for a second opinion, but both will be missing on Friday. Rider replacement for Lassie, that means extra rides for Paco. The averages change as of Wednesday for Paco and the reserves. And stepping in for James at reserve is Dylan Rummel of Oxford and Plymouth last year. So he had a pretty good meeting for Plymouth when he was up last year. So, capable reserve coming in there, Dave. And you always want to have your own 1 to 7, but as long as Jacob carries on his progression, Dylan rides to his capabilities, and Paco carries on his recent form, we should just about be able to cover those absences. Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's as you talked about the average changes. So James' average has gone up a bit, which allows us to bring Dylan in. He wouldn't have been available at Plymouth on Tuesday, for example. So that does give a little bit more leeway. But and of course. Excuse me. So I'm sure he's keen to continue his decent start to the season with Plymouth. So hopefully that will be there, because we know the reserves are going to need to take 11 rides between them. However that works out, hopefully young Jacob's going on and scoring well, and like he did last week. But we'll need all 7 performing, because we know Glasgow are pretty solid all the way down. Yeah, and certainly one man looking to carry on his recent uptick in form is our Italian maestro, Paco Castagna, and I caught up with him earlier on. So Paco, it's a cup, it's Glasgow. Of course, they came here a few weeks ago and turned the Monarchs over, but starts at 0-0 again at Heat 1, and everyone's got a job to do and as many points on the board as possible.
Yeah, of course, I'm pretty confident the boys can do well, and this week was kind of a tougher meeting because of the crashes, and we lost Lasse now, and I don't know what's going to happen now. I have no clue, but losing James as well now, let's see what happens with the team. But I think we are getting on the groove of doing points, and you know, if I didn't have that 0 after the rerun, which made no sense, which I was in front, I would have scored well as well tonight. So I'm fairly happy with myself. It's just that I think we just need to hit hard straight away from the start of the meeting, just to be sure, you know.
And we've seen obviously the last 2 weeks at home, you mentioned double digits last week, and it would have been double digits again tonight, but for the referee.
Yeah.
You know, the switch and rider position, is that had anything to do with it, or is it just you know, everything was just waiting to click in the last couple of weeks it has?
I don't know, to be honest. It's funny because everything clicked in the moment that we swapped positions, and I don't know if it's any better or not, but I feel pretty good even at 4. It doesn't really matter to me, but it's quite good. I feel like we are doing quite well all together. It's just that sometimes halfway through the meeting we are just not clicking. Again, tonight the starts were a bit different, and we were actually good. Hookie was good tonight as well, and I think that we can win against Glasgow. We just need to hit them hard straight away, and if not, we just, you know, they hit 15. After hit 15, that's what matters. So we're going to go with a fresh head, fresh meeting, as you said, and all start from 0 and just start confident.
Yeah, and of course it's a cup, so you know the aggregate score comes into it. Monarchs can take confidence with the fact that they went to Glasgow again a few weeks ago, and again probably if we weren't missing Sarge, we would have came away with a win.
Exactly, and we did all pretty well apart from myself, which I wasn't very happy, but you know, a draw there wasn't too bad, and I think we can do well there, and if we win here, then we can go there with a bit more confidence, if not just 2 meetings. So we are going to have a couple of meetings before, which we'll see what that happens, but fresh head and hit them hard straight away, you know. Again, it's the derby, of course it's important to everyone, but it's the cup and it's off 2 meetings, so we'll see how that goes.
And obviously it's been a bit of a quiet sort of start to the season for the Monarchs. There's not been a huge amount of away matches. I think we've maybe ridden the least amount of matches in the league, but we're busying up now. Of course we're away, it's kind of midweek, away next week, then we've got a visit back to Birmingham, you're back old home track, so busying up, and we've got those 2 home defeats to make up for, so it's time to start getting some away points and get back up that table in those playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, as we all say, no league is won at the start of the year. Of course, the team is new, so we're all clicking up, and we are good in the pits. We are having fun, and I think we are doing the job. And just a couple of bad luck meetings, and just plenty of meetings to come now. So we have to focus on that and let all the riders click on together at the same time, and we are good.
And from your own point of view, and I guess from the team spirit point of view, everyone seems to be working the same way. You know, I think everyone knows you're. You know, you love celebrating with the fans. We see more of that pretty much after every race. If the Monarchs win, there's a rider out doing a wheelie or something, and you know, that can only help as well. Everyone's building and working towards the same direction. Obviously bad news this week about the stadium, but that doesn't affect anyone on track. Just got to go out, do your job, and then more wheelies and more chest pumps come after.
Of course, because you know, the fans are the ones who pay the ticket, and we are here more or less for them, you know. So it's good to give them a good time, and you know, race wins, why not celebrate them? And I'm loving it. The fans are fantastic. The club is good, so I'm very happy here, and I hope things work out good and that I can stay here. So I'm loving it, and let the good time rolls, and just all fun, and we just need the wins.
Perfect. Thanks, Paco. Well done tonight, buddy. Speak to you soon.
Yep, Paco there. I think a pretty clear message, Dave. He repeated it a few times. We just need to hit the Tigers hard early and build on it from there. And certainly, I've said before, I missed the last match against the Tigers, but it appeared that from what I read, and certainly from the Leicester match the week later, that gating was the issue, consistently outgated in both of those matches. That seems to have been rectified a little bit in the last few, and it'll be more of the same. And certainly, you look back to that previous match, I can't imagine come Friday focus time on Friday night, we'll be discussing Sam not winning a heat until heat 15 before he got his first win in the last one. Josh finishing on 6 or 7, if that, maybe. The last time, you know, I can't believe for any 1 second we'll be talking about a repeat of those scores.
No, definitely not. And of course, that was a nightmare. And I think Kai kind of discovered his bike problem when he won his 4th race. And since then, he's been back to the Kai that we'd hoped we were going to get this season. And so hopefully that does carry on come Friday. But with Tigers, with Oostergaard, Cookie, Tom Brennan, they're certainly going to have guys that are sharp out those traps themselves and really competitive in the first bend. So we need to be there or thereabouts and making sure we're got a chance. It's brilliant seeing that Josh Pickens special around the outside, but you've got to, you can't do that every race. You need to make sure you're there and winning races, as you said, as Paco was saying, and jump out, get ahead on the scoreboard early, put some pressure on Glasgow, and make sure we win that match.
Yeah, and of course, it's a cup match, Dave, so it's a two-legged thing. So, that does change one slight thing, and that neither team will be able to make a tactical sub if they fall enough points behind. So that makes the reserves jobs pretty key. If you've got one strong or two strong reserves, they can help out. And so from the Monarchs' point of view, as you mentioned, 11 rides as a minimum between them. From Glasgow, that looks to be another position of strength. The averages change again. So I think for the last month, it's been Brock Nicol and Connor Bailey. This time, Bailey moves into the main body with Daniel Hume dropping back down. I mean, the last time Glasgow came, he was at reserve, but he beat Sam Masters in a race. You've got a team coming with a reserve capable of beating the guy that's currently top of the averages in the league. If you look at just 2022 averages, not rolling averages, that is. So that just shows the strength and depth that Glasgow have got, and they'll come full of confidence after that last win. We've seen them win at Newcastle since then, at Berwick since then, and they'll just be looking for the bandwagon to keep rolling.
Yeah, I mean, as we all know, they're desperate for success through in the West, and they've had a pretty good start to the season. POOLE did go there and pick up a draw, and obviously we scored 44 when we were there when we lost James, and the way it fit, we could only get Willie in. So, we've got to go there with optimism when we go through to Glasgow. But the main thing is getting that win Friday night, showing our dominance around Armadale again, so that teams coming over the next few weeks will have that fear of coming to Armadale facing us.
Yeah, you mentioned there, and you touched on it kind of earlier on, that the top five pretty much speaks for itself. Or certainly the top four, we all know what Craig Cook's capable of, Ulrich Ostergaard, Ben Basso, Tom Brennan, and I think that's kind of where Glasgow's success has been this year, that he's certainly not having a bad season by any state of affairs, but Cookie's not the dominant Cookie we've seen a couple of years ago. Ostergaard obviously coming back from injury, has very good meetings. We've seen a couple of, I'm not going to say subpar, but the scoring power wasn't there, but they're so solid down the line. Basso and Brennan, two of the hottest prospects in European World Speedway, and are always going to have two strong reserves. Connor Bailey's having a fantastic season, averaging, I think he's pushed his average up to about 5.5 or over 5.5 now. So he steps into the main body, but Daniel Hume drops back down, ready to replace him, and we all know how capable a rider that is. So it's the one thing with that Glasgow team. There's never an easy heat. There's some teams you can look at and you can identify the heats where you think you're going to get a heat advantage. And this time, from the Monarchs' point of view, they'll need to be going right from the start. It was touched on already. Can't be getting beat into those first bends, because you're not going to pass these guys, the calibre they've got in that team. But job for both teams to do, and I think, as I said there, come 7:30 on Friday, it starts at 0-0.
Yeah, of course, and yeah, we're not the same team as well that night. So yeah, as you say, Glasgow strong, especially. They've got that strength all the way down through 1 to 7, and sometimes, as you say, if you've got better reserve, you try and pick him against riders he's likely to beat, but it's quite difficult to do that against Glasgow. But we know what happened last week. I mean, Tom Brennan's picked up a couple of good wins last week, but he's also been 5-1 in Heat 1 with Lassie and 13 and 15. So we certainly know we're more than capable of beating Tom, and Cookie's on fire. It's difficult, but as you said already, it doesn't fire every time this year. So we need to just make sure we take advantage of that.
Yep, and of course, we record this on Monday evening, so that's why we're not touching on the trips to Plymouth or Poole, and we've not seen the official Glasgow lineup. We do know Cammy Brown likes to have a wee tinker at that every now and again, so it'll be interesting to see when that comes out, if any changes have been made to riding order. But one man that you mentioned has had a little bit of extra practice in just before the meeting was Tom Brennan. He guested for Birmingham last week, and I was able to catch up with him in the pits after and talk to him about this match. So Tom, it's KO Cup time, and it's Derby time again. Glasgow head to Armadale on Friday, obviously full of confidence after that big win a few weeks ago, but
everyone starts at 0-0. Has the tapes go up on heat 1?
Yeah, as you say, it's a completely fresh start for all of us, and obviously massive shame. Obviously, this may be the last kind of Derby Cup that we have, so obviously big sort of shame there, and we obviously wish Edinburgh the best, and hope and I hope they can find a new home. But yeah, as you say, I mean, as a team we had a good win last time, and we're definitely looking forward to kind of keeping that ball rolling. So,
and it's been a little bit of a quiet spell for the Tigers, kind of home fixtures one week, then nothing the next, so it goes into a bit of a busier spell after that, and everyone will be looking for what's lining up to be a big year for Glasgow.
Yeah, of course. I mean, obviously the lucky thing is obviously most of us are kind of doubled up anyway, so you know, we're obviously trying to get plenty of track time, and we're always busy, so it doesn't really hinder us too much. Obviously we haven't been at home for a while, but I haven't personally, so it's going to be obviously quite tough to get dialed in, but obviously shouldn't take us too long. We've been there plenty of years, so we should be fine. And
of course you've got a little bit of extra Armadale experience tonight for Birmingham. Be able to take that into next week, but again, you could show up next week and the track could be different. So anything learned tonight, or just going to take it as it comes come next Friday? Yeah, I mean, obviously tonight was great, and obviously would like to thank Birmingham obviously for the opportunity, obviously to represent the Brummies again. And no, I mean, obviously I'm here, and obviously any track time is obviously practice, you know, so we kind of take it in, we take everything in, and this should be pretty good for next time we come. So with any luck the track could be somewhat similar, but if it's not, we can always adapt. So we're sort of ready for everything, and we're going to try and have a good Tigers win. And KO Cup next week, that makes it, I guess, slightly different than the league. In the league it's all about, you know, get the 3 points or the 4 points on the board, then it's job done. And the Cup, it's all about just scoring as many points as you can. So no tactical options really for Cammy Brown apart from reserve switches, so everyone has a job to do.
Yeah, no, so Cammy can have a nice cup of tea during the meeting. So no, I mean everyone's obviously going to be busy. I mean, we're always busy, always looking at maximising the team best we can, and as you say, a little bit different format, but again, as a rider, as a team, obviously the professionalism of a Glasgow, we all have a good job, and we all understand what we've got to do, so we're here with an open mind and trying to take on a real tough team with the Monarchs.
Tom Brennan there, Dave, you know, as was stated, one of the hot prospects in British, if not world speedway, and you know, a truly nice kid to see there. His first answer and his first thought was to say he hopes everything gets sorted for the Monarchs in regards to Armadale on a track and stuff. And yeah, you know, we all know that these guys are rivals on the track, but off the track, you know, it's something different. And Brennan there, I'm going to say a nice kid, but a nice kid that I hope scores about 3 points on Friday night. I can put my bias hat on there and say that, although I somehow don't see it.
Yeah, it was a touch of class to say that, especially from such a young lad. But and he does have a bright future. But as we said last week, we said, Jay, we hope them well for the rest of the season. Let's hope that starts on Sunday, not Friday or Saturday.
Yeah, and of course, Dave, if the Monarchs need any inspiration, they don't need to go too far back. It was October last year. Well, it could have been November last year, the way the season went on. It might have been January, February this year. I can't quite remember. We met Glasgow in the semi-final of the KO Cup. Went to Ashfield first and went down by a ton, and everyone, including me, had us written off and thought that's it, compact the bags, season's done. But of course, had that rip roaring Friday night, 22 points was it? We won by, or was it 12? Was it 18 after the first leg? And we won by 20 or 22. Yeah, I'd forgotten the exact figures, but to get you back into that feeling, Dave, we'll now go into Mike Hunter's blast from the past, and we'll see some action from that night now. Well, heat 15, take 2, Mike. Here we go.
Masters and Worrell have made the better starts. Cook trying to cut through the middle, but he's not close enough. Worrell and Masters lead the way. Swinging very wide. Worrell at the fence, Masters on the line. Doesn't seem to be much Craig Cook can do about it now, unless something goes wrong for the Monarchs. Worrell roaring round the outside. Master doing one of his funny inside turns there. Could lose second, but that wouldn't matter. He hasn't though. The Monarchs have taken a 5-1 and they've qualified for the Knockout Cup final, which, as I understand it, will be here next Friday against POOLE. Fantastic effort by the Monarchs. I honestly didn't think it was on at the start of the match, but they've done it in tense circumstances. Tigers were not at their best, I don't think. They fought hard to hold on to their advantage, but the Monarchs have knocked them out of the cup.
Heat 15, a win in blue for the Monarchs Richie Worrell. Second in red was Sam Masters, and third in yellow Craig Cook. 3 riders only. 5-1 to the Fork Monarchs means your final score on the night. 55 to the Monarchs, 35 to the Allied Tigers, and a 4-point aggregate victory for the Monarchs, 92 to 88.
Well, Dave, of course, we don't have a Glasgow lead to chase on Friday. It's all about trying to build up a lead for the first leg. But you know what? If you're offering me anywhere near that kind of scoreline, I'm sure we'd have a lot of happy Monarchs leaving Armadale on Friday night.
Yeah, start your hand off or something like that. I mean, most team managers always kind of aim for at least that 10-point margin. So
yeah,
sometimes a 10-point win right now would be very good, and anything beyond that gives us a fighting chance in the reverse match. And as we said earlier, being a cup tie, it's all about getting through. It doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter if you lose on Friday, then win the return leg by more. That's part how you get through. It's just about getting through.
Yeah, all about getting through. That'll be the job for the boys over the weekend. Of course, 7:30 is your tapes up on Friday. Tickets are available at edinburghmonarchs.co.uk. For those not in attendance, the match is live streamed. Again, it's edinburghmonarchs.co.uk, and then click on the EMTV link there. For any of our Glasgow fans watching, I do believe that any sort of distance restrictions or anything that were in place last year have been lifted for this year. I think that's right. Or if you can't make it for any particular reason, do just email the club and we can sort that kind of thing out with regards to the stream. But Dave, until then, and hopefully no repeat of last week where a 10-10 finish and a struggle to get any Friday focus put together, we'll be back to review all the action then. And what is it we like to say, Dave?
Friday night, Speedway night, man. Yeah, huge week for the Monarchs with their away matches as well. So we're hopefully that'll finish nicely on Friday night with a big win over the Tigers.
Big win over the Tigers, Dave Harley claims. Yeah, that's what we like to hear. So thank you very much for joining us as always. And as we say, until we're back with the Friday Focus, goodbye.